Hey, what's up, everybody? Tony Gappistone here. I was trying something different today in the one-person production studio that I am, trying to add a little bit of an intro bumper. Hey, this is the online experience during shelter in place. Quarantine has us not having our Brave Maker Film Festival live publicly. So what are we doing? We're offering our films and our filmmakers for free online for you to screen. These powerful, brave stories that are changing our awareness, that are celebrating and elevating justice, diversity, and inclusion, that make us laugh, that make us cry, that maybe make us a little bit more empathetic, and maybe also help us cope a little bit through this ridiculous experience we're going through worldwide called the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, hey, thanks for joining us. We've been here about 2 or 3 times a week here on our Brave Maker Film Fest page. And I'm really grateful for the filmmakers who are entrusting their films to us. If you are not on our email list to get these access to these films, go to bravemaker.com/buzz, because some of the films are still password protected, they're private, so we're only putting them out through our email list. But some of them, the films that we're sharing, are public, which is great. They're on YouTube and Vimeo, and they're going out through our social media, which is today's films are going to be, they're public. So you've hopefully seen them already. If you haven't, that's okay, because we'll encourage you to go watch them after. We might have some spoilers, but I'm gonna welcome to the broadcast today 2 directors. I'm gonna welcome Foster Wilson, who made the film Made Public, and Kylie Eaton, who did Dispel. So welcome to the Brave Maker online experience, you two.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
For having us.
So how about you do a quick little, I've been asking all of our people to share where they're calling from, and maybe just a little bit of a blurb of how you're dealing with this experience of shelter in place. So why don't you start, Foster?
Hi, well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Foster Wilson. I'm the director of the film Made Public. We're so glad to be part of this festival, albeit online now. Yeah, I'm here in Los Angeles and have been sheltered in place for a long time, 6 weeks or so. I have 2 small kids and they are out of school, so it is 24/7 parenting in one tiny little space. So that has been my primary focus.
How old are your kids?
3.5 and 7.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Bless you, my friend. I have 9, 11, and 13, and it is no joke.
Wow. Woo. It's a lot. It is a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot. Kylie, how about you?
I am, again, Kylie Eaton, the director and writer of Dispel, and thank you, Tony, for having us. I'm sheltering in place in Los Angeles, and similar timeline for about 6 weeks now. And it's been okay. I'm lucky. I'm healthy. I'm safe. My husband is a fun quarantine partner. I've been getting a lot of writing done and have time to do some crafts and stuff that I never get the time to do. So I'm grateful to be busy during this experience and still get to connect online with the film world, which has been a really important part of it.
I agree. It's interesting how busy I feel right now. Like I have so much going on. Because of the beauty of technology, we are connecting all over the world. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, hey, let's meet 2 of your actors. Really exciting that we have Jeanine Wilson from Made Public. Welcome to the broadcast, Jeanine.
Mason, yeah.
Jeanine Mason, but I like
Mason. Oh my
Jeanine
gosh.
Wilson. I'll join Foster's family.
I'm so sorry, Jeanine Mason.
I'm kind of like an honorary member of her family, all right.
Jeanine, thank you. By the way, I noticed you guys have done multiple films together, so you must be a Wilson. Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about that. Sorry about that. That's my brain. So many things going on. Jeanine Mason, she is the star of Made Public, and we need to make sure we talk about the winner of, make sure I get this right, So You Think You Could Dance 2011.
No, it was season 5, which was 2009. That was my first job. I was 18. Yeah, way back then.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations. I met Jeanine through my mutual friend, Jeremy. So I want to shout out to Jeremy Valdez. And then you also star in CW's Roswell, New Mexico. So how cool. Thanks for your time. We'll talk about hopefully all of that stuff today.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you for having me, Tony. Good to be here.
Yeah. And we have Lee Sherman, Lee Sherman is also in the film called Dispel. That
Yes.
you play the momster.
The
and
moms.
Lee-
I titled myself the momster. Yes.
Right on. And we're going to talk about how you had 8 hours of sci-fi makeup. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. The day
Yeah.
of, there were several hours before that to get the prosthetics made, but that day it was about 8 hours.
Oh my gosh, right on.
Yeah.
Well, let's chat about Dispel, because I know we're also going to have Josh Zuckerman coming up in a little bit, and you all can interact with each other too, because we're going to have some kind of overall questions just about making films and why shorts are still important. So how about let's start with the directors, and then actors, I'll have you chime in. Why make your short? Tell us why you made it and why it was important for you to tell the story. Because the reason why we selected these two films to work together, I was saying thematically, they're both about the power of media on relationships. Dispel, the power of media for a mother and a daughter, and Made Public, the power of media on two people getting married, which is very interesting. So let's start with Foster, why don't you talk about Made Public? How about that?
Sure, yeah. You know, my husband and I work as a writer-director team, so he's with the kids now, which is why he's not on this call, but we grew up sort of in the era Facebook was invented when we were sophomores in college. I'll date myself there. So we sort of watched Facebook evolve from something where you just like share what you're having for breakfast into what the crazy thing all of social media is now, and how important decisions are being made. And we're sort of fascinated by that with our kids and what it's going to be like for them as they grow up with this in their periphery, you know, in their everyday lives. So we're fascinated. We're Black Mirror fans. we're very interested in that. So Made Public came out of sort of our curiosity about how does social media and, you know, one person's insecurities affect their relationships, small, intimate, and large, with their friends and family.
Awesome. Jeanine, let's hear from you about being in this film and your experience bringing Sydney to life. Sydney is the to-be bride who finds out her fiance has basically taken a poll. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I first heard about this from Foster. Her and I, as you said before, have worked together on Valerie Weiss's film, The Archer, and then on Foster's short, Waffles, which Brian also wrote. So when she first told me about this, I was like, all right, I'm bored. I'm pretty much always on board for whatever Foster summons me for. And then we started talking about who would be the best counter for Sydney. And Foster had very specific reasons, very specific ideas about what she wanted him to like, and someone who is susceptible to all these forces we feel when it comes to social media and it comes to external societal pressures that are amplified with how connected we are. So that he's somebody who's susceptible to that, but ultimately there's a good dude in there. And Josh just kills it. He's so perfect for this part. So it was just a dream. It was so fun. I knew of Josh for years before I became his friend. And then we started working together, doing a lot of theater together in the way that Jeremy and I have. And so it was like a dream to get to play with him on camera. And then to what you said earlier about why shorts, I think all of those elements are the answer to that. It's just, I find myself always excited when Foster calls because I know we're going to truly get to collaborate. And someone who I spend half the year working in TV and you know, I feel like I can speak freely, being that this is an intimate filmmaker community, and saying, I think everyone understands how many restrictions there are when you're working on something, particularly something that is stylized in its own way. Like the W is its own thing. So it's so freeing to get to truly collaborate. And shorts are the only place really, as of recently, I've felt like I can really be my full artistic butterfly. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. For all of our audiences who are just chiming in, I'm Tony Gapistone with the Brave Maker Film Fest, and we are with two directors today. We're with Foster Wilson of Made Public and one of her lead actors, Jeanine Mason. Now we're going to talk to director Kylie Eaton of Dispel and her actress Lee Sherman. Kylie, tell us about that, making a short film, why it was important to you, and a little bit about the beginning of it, the why behind your film.
Absolutely. I think, you know, for me, I really wanted to make a short that sort of showcased who I was as a filmmaker in terms of both the genre that I want to work more in, as well as the themes that are really important to me. And so it was a way to be able to tell this sort of fantastic story about a mother and a daughter and have these really strong female relationships on screen. It started with an idea to sort of pay homage to the, you know, what I grew up watching, 80s and 90s and, you know, older stuff from before that, you know, Twilight Zone, Doctor Who, Star Trek, all those kind of shows that have this sort of like, you know, heroic message. And I really wanted to be able to make a character that would represent that for this young girl, Lizzie. And the other sort of catalyst for this was sort of thinking back over my life and what I went through as a kid. And I have two siblings that are 8 and 11 years older than me. And when they moved out, that was like such a huge turning point in my life and a really scary change that's sort of what I built the story of Dispel around. And I also wanted to take a look at, you know, the idea of how we deal with addiction, how we view addiction in our society, and having this metaphor of a monster who's actually someone that's just sick and in pain and needs help in their life. And so those were kind of the three big ideas that sort of all came together and became Dispel. And I think the beauty of shorts is, like Jeanine was saying, you're able to experiment, you're able to play around and have this freedom to sort of, for me, I feel like I can really use my own voice and I don't have someone saying like, is this marketable? Is this, you know, this or that? It's what I want to say as a filmmaker. And to be able to tell like a complete story in under 15 minutes is a really fun challenge, and getting, you know, it's a great experience on set too, because you know you only are going to be together for like a very constricted amount of time, and so you have to like bond really fast and make these relationships, and it can be a really wonderful experience.
The beauty of making shorts, I think that's so powerful that all of you are saying how they're still so important and there's so much freedom in that. For those of our Brave Maker audiences who are, I know we have a collective of filmmakers who are working on shorts right now, and just affirm all of you who are trying to get your short story out in the world, because it is a learning experience. It's a way to, for me, go to school, right? I didn't go to film school. I didn't spend my money, you know, paying tuition. I spent my money making films, and that's how I learned, and it's super powerful. So I really love that affirmation. I love that all of you being able to have freedom, but also build your tribe, right? You're finding who you want to work with. So Lee, talk about that for you, working with Kylie and jumping into this sci-fi relationship as the momster in Dispel.
The monster, absolutely. So my journey with this was, in the beginning, when I saw the audition notice, I thought, wow, I've never played a special effects monster. I fit the physicality. I'm 5'10", I'm thin, they needed movement. I was like, this is great. This was before me even knowing the story. And so initially when I went in, it was really just for that, oh, this is going to be so cool if I get this, because I get to play a monster. And then after reading the script, I thought, you know, this is deep, because I've been in a relationship with somebody that was alcohol addicted. And I've also just known people in my family that have been alcohol addicted. So I've seen the monster. And so then it became much more personal. And though I don't have a lot of dialogue in it, it became a matter of how do I show this monster side of somebody that's addicted, but also for me in the preparation inside, showing the feeling side of it, because as Kylie said, this is a side of an addicted person that underneath all of that is still the person. It's still that wonderful human being. And how do we get rid of that monster so they can shine, you know, so that person can shine again? So for me mentally, it became a much different process once I read the script. And then working with Kylie, she's amazing. She's a wonderful director. You love being on sets where the director's just, something happens, nothing phases them, just go with the flow. And so that was wonderful. Now the 8 hours in the makeup chair beforehand, and the several hours of getting the prosthetics made to fit my body. I've never had that experience, and it was pretty amazing. Chelsea, who did the special effects, is one of those people that has never gone to school for it, but mind-blowingly talented. So we got a lot of conversations in for me to be able to watch my transformation into this monster. That was my title for it. It was a very special experience, and so I'm just happy to have been part of it.
I definitely got choked up at one of those points when they have that mom-daughter relationship. And again, I love this idea. I mean, Brave Maker is all about stories, brave stories that elevate conversation, that help us find ways to kind of cross over divides through different communities, help see people. And both these films dispel for the family dynamic and the challenges that we find sometimes that strain us in families, sometimes the way that we hurt each other. But I love that moment in Dispel where Celeste Skygood talks about how monsters always have someone beneath it or something like that. She says something like there was a monster that took over the person. I think that was really, for me, really meaningful. And for Made Public, I think I watched it again today. I think I had a different take today being in quarantine. Just the challenge of relationships and how sometimes this thing and these real life things sort of collide. So to our audience here, if you have not watched the films, they are available free. The links are on our social media, Brave Maker Film Fest Facebook page. Before we get to some other questions, I'd love for you all to share about the challenges. We know these finished products, by the way, all amazing quality. The acting, the production design, sound, music, and everything, like seriously top notch. So kudos to all of you for your hard work. But I know that doesn't come with a lot of sweat, blood, and sometimes tears. So I'm wondering if you can share, actors just talking about any hiccups that happen along the way for you personally, or directors, anything you can share about just getting it on its feet, getting it financed. Maybe you want to pick one thing, one obstacle that you had to overcome and the story behind that. Who wants to go first?
Oh gosh. Let's see. Our film, I think the major hiccup was getting it off the ground in the first place. For anyone who's seen it, there's a lot involved. There are a lot of people. We had about 60 wedding guests that day. We have a principal cast of about 20. And a huge church, which in Los Angeles was very difficult to find. So the first part was Brian wrote the script, we had a table read of it, and we were like, this is great. We have to shelve it. There's no way. This is so expensive. There's no way to make this movie, because we knew we wanted to make it right, and there wasn't really a cheap way to do it. And so then we won the Emergence Award for Female Filmmakers, which was sponsored by the Camera Division. And we were able to get a lot of things granted to us. And then we crowdfunded for the remaining amount. And actually getting it off the ground was that catalyst of winning that award, which was based on the script. And I think Location Gate, what we called it, which was the exact same problem we had when we were planning our wedding about 10 years ago, was the venue was so hard to find. And you can see it's beautiful. We needed it to be huge. We needed to have this, energy from coming all the way from the front of the church, tearing through the church, trying to find Sydney. And nothing was really right. Or it was either that or, The Office filmed here a few years ago, so we charge like $50,000 a day, something bizarre. So we were able to find this sweet spot in Pasadena, and that once we got that, everything sort of rolled a little easier.
Jeanine, what about you? You want to share something? Thank you for that. I love that backstory. Finding the locations and just dealing with the fact that what's written on the page, how do we get that, on the screen? Those are real things. So way to hustle. They say every movie's a miracle. So way to go. You made a miracle. Jeanine, what about you?
I mean, I really didn't feel, I guess my memory of it now, I don't think of, I'm sure there were, but all I think about is how we made it work always, and how it was just a joy, which I think just is a result of this kind of filmmaking, and absolutely what you're saying, finding a tribe you love working with. That's the other aspect about this that's so fun. It's you don't really get to revisit people who you love working with all that often, unless it's something either you or a friend is shepherding, you know. But I do remember just like the joy of watching Foster navigate these long ass takes, because we got some long ass takes in there, and these long passes, and it was such a choreography of bodies and of happy accidents of like, oh, now we happen upon this actor, and it feels so organic and found on the day, but it was all just so meticulously mapped out and timed down. I remember from like the first second we got to set that day, it was like, okay, now I want you to say the lines going from the altar all the way to the kitchen, and let's see where we land, and just maximizing our use of time. And you know, Foster is an actor, and Josh and I, we come from the theater as well. So it just was fun to really have a runway as a stage, and all of us, you know, getting to use all of that, firing all those parts of our brains was a joy. Yeah.
And I just say it was so fun to work with Jeanine and Josh. This is the 5th time they've played a couple, either on stage or on screen. And so it was kind of just like, hey, go. And they have such chemistry together. You know, the notes are really just like tiny little things, to just because they played so well off each other. And I don't know what it is, but we did say that someday they're gonna, you know, actually go through with getting married, have a baby, do the divorce film, and we really just want to keep watching them work together.
Exactly. I want to go all the way until we do the film where it's like they're that animated movie Up in the Air, where it's like the couple and they're holding hands. Let's go all the way to
all the way. We got a long career ahead of us.
All the way to death, and then you could redo Ghost, and you come back from the dead.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes, Tony.
I love that. So I just want to highlight too, Jeanine talked about Foster being an actor as well, and you can look up Foster's acting work. But I think that's a really interesting just point to make, that as a director, when you have a background in acting, you know what it feels like to be in front of the camera. I think your actors can definitely feel that. And I am, you know, as an actor director myself, I know I feel like I can direct so differently because I've been in those shoes, and I know what does not help to hear and what does. And one more question we got in, I thought it would be a great question to then chat about acting in process a little bit. First of all, Nicole says, love Jeanine's work. She's so talented. Please ask her about The Archer later. So Jeanine, why don't you share a little bit? Why don't you share a little bit about your acting journey? You said you first got, 2009, so you think you can dance. And we know this is not an easy business to break into. You have broken in, if there is such a way to say, you have broken in. So talk about that, the ups and downs in the acting journey for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I started acting. The quick of it is I started acting when I was very young. And my idea of an actor was always this sort of MGM, can do it all, can use every bit of their instrument, can sing, can dance, can act, can fight. Like, I wanted to be able to be a full instrument. And so I started doing theater and dance and voice lessons, and always knew I was going to go out to LA at 18. And the So You Think You Can Dance just gave me a platform. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm sheltering here right now, quarantining with my family. And it was my way to get into an industry that I had no access to, as so many people don't. So I got repped off the show, and that's what takes so many people a very long time to do. And I was fortunate to fall into good hands, and still with my manager, Sarah Shin, who's at, 10 years now we've been working together. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely, I've been fortunate in the last 5 years to get to work with a lot of people who I am grateful for their collaboration, but I'm also grateful for their friendship. And that is the circle that I met Foster in. It was working on The Archer. Valerie Weiss directed that film. And as a result of that, we got to go to Bentonville Film Festival and just meet more filmmakers that are just the kinds of people you want to be surrounded with in this world. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's fascinating. Like just what you were saying on Roswell, New Mexico, we get the whole range. Like we get directors who, you know, are seasoned. We get people who are newbies. Foster came and shadowed for us last year, and you know, we get people who are editor directors. We get people who are actor directors. Shiri Appleby directed for us both seasons so far, and I'm sure we'll be back for season 3. So it's been a really fun playground to learn about working with people. But if I'm learning anything, is like when you identify people you want to work with, you just want to work with them for always. So I feel very grateful to be working, but you know, the hustle never stops. That's how it goes. And I love the hustle. I love making choices. I love like being in rehearsal and investigating and dissecting a script with each other. So that's our little tribe. And, you know, we were very lucky to drag Josh into it.
Awesome. I love it. I think it's so that the hustle is real. And if you don't love the hustle, this business is not for you. If you can't find people, you know, to help you through the thin of it, as well as the thick of it, it will eat you up. And so, yeah, thanks for that bit. I'm super excited and happy for you. Even just meeting you back, you know, years ago before any of your TV stuff started shooting out, I was like, you're a human, a real, humble, compassionate, authentic human being. And those are the people that you really root for. So really happy for you, Jeanine. If you want to follow Jeanine.
Happy for you, Tony.
Thank you. Yeah, there's Jeanine's Instagram. We're going to keep you on because Josh is going to come on in a second, but we're going to talk about, and Foster, be thinking about this question, because we're going to go to the other film in a second here, but Robertino says, congrats, awesome projects, female powerful force in the mother house. Will these projects possibly turn into features? So we're going to give you, the Made Public team, a second to think through that. And we're going to go to Kylie and Lee and have you share a little bit about that. Is this a feature potential for you?
You know, I've been asked that a lot, and it's an interesting question, because when I sort of approach a project, especially a short, just having written it as a short, it's important to sort of like have integrity to tell the whole story. And so I really feel like for me, telling Lizzie's story with her mom is sort of it's a complete story, and I like where it landed, and I like how everything turned out with it. That said, I had so much fun coming up with the character of Celeste Skygood. Obviously, I still keep the poster behind me.
Yes.
So I think, you know, there's always room there. There's always the possibility that there might be more with that character or in that world, just because I put a lot of time into, you know, building the world around this TV show, even though you only see it for about 30 seconds in the film. You know, our production designer had to make all these, you know, fake VHS covers and posters. Our costume designer, Brie Perry, made this amazing from scratch costume, beautifully made for Celeste. And so, you know, we put a lot of time and effort into sort of creating this world and coming up with it. So I think, you know, that's always, there's more there to mine, I think. And I would love to sort of explore that more if the chance came up.
So we're seeing the dispelfilm.com, I believe is the name, dispelshortfilm.com. If you want to go check out all of these stills, dispelshortfilm.com. There's Celeste Skygood. So yeah, this was in the film. You have a show within the film. So this TV show, Celeste Skygood, I love that you noted that, Kylie, that you had to put some extra effort into creating a whole nother production, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. We shot like half a day for the TV stuff in a different location, and so we had to actually, like, we were actually shooting this other TV show. There was no like crossover at that point. And so it was fun to get to play around with like a different visual style that still fit within the world of the film, but felt like it was, you know, an actual show that had run in the 80s or 90s that Lizzie was just discovering now. And so, yeah, it was really fun to build that world. It was, you know, all the tiny little things that you have to do to make it believable. It was all worth it, even if it like didn't even make it in the shot. It's like, you know, that it was there and you know it exists in this like fantasy world, which is really fun to do.
Again, huge kudos for all the work that you put in there as a director in making your idea come to life. And I just love too that the answer to the question is, you know, some shorts just have to be shorts. They don't need to be features. I've made a bunch of shorts that I've kind of felt the same, like I'm kind of done with it. But if someone wanted to write me a couple $1 million check, I'd be happy to turn that.
Absolutely. Would love to have Lee play another monster. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, I was going to say Gina Torres is an amazing actor, an amazing human being. And I could absolutely see that character come into different people's lives and help them through whatever struggle they're experiencing in the moment. So I don't know if you should let Celeste Skygood go so quickly.
I love it. She'll always have a place in my heart, and maybe on the screen again.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that you have her poster behind you too.
Yeah, it's in my office. It was like the actual one from the shoot, so it's like ripped in a corner or whatever. But I was like, I'm saving it. I love it so much.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
And Lee, want to give you a moment too, because you you were on Jane the Virgin and you played a director. Is that right?
I did.
Talk about that.
That was one of the most fun television experiences that I have. One, from the showrunner down, everybody was so warm and welcoming and embracing, and it was their last season, so that heightened just that feeling of family, and they just welcomed you in. And being on set, because I did a recurring, so I was in 3 episodes, it was every time, it was just so much fun. And when I found out I was going to be playing a director, I was like, oh, okay. And this particular director, because she has to deal with Rogelio, who is a bit of a prima donna, I had to go into, you know, the place of come on, come on, come on. So I wasn't necessarily the wonderful, warm director that Kylie was on our set. It was more that, come on, let's get it done. Where's Rogelio? What's going on? You know, I have to tell you that right now, Rogelio, you suck, you know, that kind of thing. But that was really fun.
It's funny, I'm not like the target audience demographic for Jane the Virgin, but I love Jane the Virgin. I was really into that show. I think I just loved the novella style of it and the way that it really poked at it and gave us a different perspective. And I think that really inspired. I never wanted to be in TV. I was always like, I'm going to be filmmaker. I'm going to do films. But now I'm really interested in creating and producing TV because of shows like that. There's so much great TV, as we all know. So yeah, so way to go. Kudos.
Thank you. And well, I was going to say one of the highlights for me also was I got to work opposite Brooke Shields. I have loved Brooke Shields from way back. Not going to date myself, but from way back. One, because she's tall, and me coming into this industry, that was that used to be a concern for me because I am 5'10". And, you know, you would see the 5'4" and the short, and I was like, how am I going to get a leading man? And, you know, all that kind of stuff always crossed my mind. And then, you know, I saw Brooke Shields just doing it. She has done it for years consistently. And so it was just an honor to be able to be on set with her and be in her storyline. And I got to talk to her and I told her, you know, you have been an inspiration for me for years. And she just was very appreciative and very gracious. So that was really the highlight of me being on Jane the Virgin. One of the,
Beautiful. I'm going to welcome everybody else back. I know Josh Zuckerman might be joining us any minute, but I want to give you an opportunity, Kylie, Foster, there you are, Foster, to talk about Made Public with the question about feature. Is it kind of one and done?
Oh, gosh. You know, I feel very similarly to Kylie, and my husband and I feel this way about the stories that we work with. You know, they usually come about in a form, and this film to us was complete in this form. It's one of the reasons why I love short film. You can make a calling card for a feature to get attention on it. You can make, you know, proof of your concept for your work and the type of work you want to do. And you can also just tell a complete story, beginning, middle, and end in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, whatever the story deserves. So we have been asked many times if this is going to be a feature, and it's not something that's in the works. However, tonally, this film really speaks to kind of the place that we want to work for our features and for our series and television, in this really dry rom-com, tongue-in-cheek sort of mood. And those are the rom-com space that we're kind of playing in, and the feature films that we're playing with for the future. So again, if there's a check, we can stretch something. we really focused in on the stories that sort of come our way, and so the next film is probably going to be very different, but have a lot of that dry, witty humor that Brian is so talented at writing. And yeah.
I love the poster, by the way. I love that it's simple. I love the color, but I also love the little simple emojis. Really cool.
Thanks. It was really fun. Janine and Josh were kind enough to come back out. We were like, we forgot to do all of our print art stuff. Could you come and do a photo shoot? And then we did it. We just have 1,000 amazing images of the two of them being so goofy, and it's fun. But this is my favorite.
Can you all share? I mean, that's good. I want to talk maybe some details about best practices on a film set. I'd love you all to share. You all have great experience and a plethora of being on set experience. So things like that, like, oh my gosh, if I could tell a future filmmaker anything, it's get someone to make sure they shoot stills on set. Or what other things come to mind? Things that you love, things that should always be on craft service table. Any tips or favorite things about having a really great set? I love your cat behind you, Kylie, by the way.
He's been sleeping all day and just decided to wake up. And
Perfect.
He wanted to be in on this. He inspired Dispel in a lot of ways. So.
If you like cats, I got to promote. We have a short film called The Trouble with Cats that's out right now on our Facebook page. You got to check it out if you like cats. It's
definitely will.
A bunch of humans that are pretending to be like cats. Not like Cats, the film that just came out, but a different way. It's very fun. Anyways,
nice.
Tips and favorite things. Best practices for a smooth set or a set that really feels warm and encouraging and creative. Anything, or just things you shouldn't forget. Thoughts?
Definitely hire women. Hire women.
Yes.
Above you, below you, side to side. I think want to say maybe 75-80% female crew. I think it's so important to, as a female director, as a male director, as a male producer, to employ women and to bring people up. Whether that's one of the things I often. For a while, I was really focused on having 100% female crews, which are an incredible experience. If you've never been on one, there's just nothing like it. But a really wonderful producer said to me, it's also important for men to learn how to work under women. And so we really make a point to always have female department heads everywhere we can. And, so people are learning what it's like to work under women, because it's just not historically been the case. So I think a lot of things went very smoothly on our day, thanks to our producers and all of our PAs who are all women, and all of these incredible creative department heads who happen to be women, just really working seamlessly together.
That's great. Go women. Brave Maker is all for women. I'm for women. Go women. I love women.
God
yeah, I would absolutely echo what Foster says. And we were lucky enough on Dispel that we had an all-female department head, which was really fun. And I think it just like Foster said, it was great to be able to show people that women can helm a film in all the different areas that are sort of key leadership roles. The other thing for me, I think, is, always trying to lead with kindness on a set. I think that, we're not performing life-saving surgery. And so, yes, things go wrong, things get very stressful, but, coming to it with an understanding that that's part of the filmmaking experience, and not pointing fingers or getting, upset at someone, but just working as a team to figure it out, because you are all there for the same purpose, to make something and to bring something into the world. And so I think like being kind to each other and also not having an ego about where the best idea comes from, because, you know, you have to listen to the people you're on set with. You come as a director with your vision, and then on the day things are different than they were in your head. And sometimes someone just has an amazing idea that might change the way you saw it. But, you know, I see the director as sort of the keeper of the story. And so wherever the idea comes from that is best for the story, you have to listen to it and you have to be open to it, to serve the story and to serve, you know, the film that you're making. And so I think those are the serious ones. And then the fun one is hire your mother-in-law to do craft services, because that always works out for me really well.
Can we get your mother-in-law's number?
Yeah, that was great.
She's like the best because she does crafty, but also like set therapy on the side. So
Yeah, she was fantastic. Yeah.
It was great.
I would say from an actor perspective, just to make sure that you go to set prepared. It's our job to support that director's vision. It's our job to be able to adapt. Again, like Kylie said, sometimes you go there and something is a little bit different than maybe you thought it was going to be. So it's our job to be flexible. So definitely from that perspective. And just to, you know, for the fun, just go in and just, I mean, we have the best job in the world. We really do as actors. So, right. So just really embrace that and go on that set and just have fun and just be open.
Jeanine?
And have coffee there early. Just say it. Make sure that someone's there like an hour before, so you never have anybody being like, where is the coffee? Like, just no questions.
I'm just saying, can we get baristas on set like all the time?
All the time, right.
Such
Jeanine,
money
Jeanine.
I would say the thing that lately has really been striking me is how much more you know than you might think you know. And I wish I would have been told that earlier on, because the truth of the matter is our bodies are very intelligent, and if we're doing this, it's because we love it, or at least I think you should be just like an avid connoisseur of it. You're just like eating it up all the time, watching all the movies, every online interview you can get with an actor, all of that stuff. I know in my DNA, I know enough, and trusting that was a big part early on. Not looking for approval everywhere, but just knowing like you know more than you think you know, and you are there because we, the filmmakers on set, feel so lucky to have your input. So come and give it fully, because there's a reason we want your input and not the several other actors we might have considered for this role. So give your ideas and give them fully, and know that they are wanted. And then my other one, which I would say is silly, but this is no laughing matter. I am a crazy knitter. I love knitting. And I know you were talking, Kylie, about crafting earlier. I find it to be such a wonderful tool on set. I used to read on set back when I was, not leading a show, so I didn't have to focus that. I was just sort of like the co-star, And so I would read, and then as soon as I started working more, and I realized it was just propelling me into a world. So now crafting on set, knitting on set, I can kind of stay in my bubble, and I can stay in the world of the character, and I can put it down and pick it up, and it's just there. It's an acting tool for me, as well as it's just a meditative, relaxing thing when stuff could be very stressful. So I think about what you want to bring with you to set to help you have a great day.
That's a great tip, because actors sometimes forget that there's a lot of waiting around on set, and you could choose something that could really kind of consume your mind and take you away from those lines in the story. You could find something that doesn't, that elevates. I like that. I wanted to also tag on to that sense of unworthiness. I think that is a really big thing for all of us, right? As artists and creatives, I think we're kind of taught early on sometimes that even when you walk into an audition room, or as a writer director, when you're pitching, it's always like we're kind of begging for approval for people to want us, or to like us, or to see us. And you all talked about as women that challenge has been a typical woman in this industry has not had all of those opportunities. And so there's even more disadvantage there, which I take responsibility for. And I want to see things change, you know, as a man in industry. But in general, I think, yeah, like we do have to do that hard work on our own heart, soul, mind, body, that we take care of ourselves, that we're worth it. All of us creating things have been created with this purpose, I believe, on this earth to bring our stories to the world. And if someone shuts the door on you, well, that's not the right person to collaborate with. And I know it's sad and we got to grieve it, but like, you got to be able to move through it, move forward, and find those who will say yes to you, because your identity and your esteem is so much more important than anybody who says no to you. So I love that, Jeanine, even just saying sometimes getting an audition is a win. Just know that that casting director believed in you, thought you could play the part. That's great. And when you get it, I mean, how often do you walk on set, even when you got the part, still feeling like you don't belong? I think that's a big deal. That's really good wisdom. So thank you for that. All right. Well, our remaining minutes, I'd love to just do a roundabout on what's next for you and any thoughts about what our new normal is going to look like. If you have any insider information on industry stuff, I know all of us probably have our fingers and thumbs and eyes on the trades for what things are going to look like, you know, as production has halted and what's going to look like in the future. But I'd love you all to share what's your next project, and then anything else you want to share about thoughts about COVID, life, entertainment in the coronavirus realm. Kylie, you want to start?
Sure. So I have another short. It's a proof of concept that will be online at some point this year. It's called Kinetic, and it's about a teenage girl who develops telekinetic powers and then gets sucked into her family's crime business. And so I have a feature script for that, which placed as a finalist in last year's Screencraft sci-fi competition. And I made a proof of concept of it as well. So that's kind of the next project up for me. And then in terms of just, you know, I'm writing another screenplay right now. I'm writing another feature. And I think, you know, I'm just being okay with sitting in the uncertainty. I know that, you know, the film industry is going to come back. We're going to make movies again, but I don't know when or how that is. And so, you know, I can't remember the exact quote, but I read this quote once where it was like, there's times to like plant the garden and there's times when the garden blooms. And so right now it's like, we have the time to sort of plant these seeds. And I'm lucky enough that I'm a writer as well as a director, so I can be doing something right now. It's obviously very frustrating to not be on set at all. But you know, I'm just trying to focus on what I can do. And like you said, take care of yourself spiritually and physically and mentally and all of that right now. And just do what I can to sort of keep developing my voice and hoping that when the time comes, I'll be ready.
Cool. Please share your next project with us when it's up and ready. We love creating this Brave Maker family of alums. Lee, what about you?
Awesome. I have a feature that will come out towards the end of the year. Fortunately, we finished principal shooting a couple months ago, so it's called Rule of Thirds. Family story, drama, family story, love story, and you know, I think this industry is going to look a lot different for a long time. But I think that if anybody can navigate it, it's us as artists. We're going to figure out how we can continue to tell our stories and make art, because that's what we do. That's what drives us. And just keeping my head up, doing a lot of walks and reading. We have 5 dogs, so a lot of puppy time. So, you know, just living life, still living my best life. That's all I can do.
Live that best life. We live it with you. And Foster, what's next? What do you think?
Yeah, so my husband and I won the 2020 Shift Creative Fund this year for our next film, which is called 5 Stages of Grief. And we have been pre-pro all year until we were supposed to shoot Easter weekend. So mid-March, we ended up deciding to postpone. And now it's a super large question mark as to when indie film will come back and when that short will get made. It's a hilarious farce about grief, and but we just don't know. So that's kind of in the wings, waiting. I have a short I directed for another writer in the fall called Dame, and it's about Elizabeth Taylor in 1958 when she was shooting Cat in the Hot Tin Roof. So that film was about to go out to festivals, and now we're also revamping sort of the plan for that and maybe doing an online release or something local when things open up again. And then, we are also planting seeds. We sold a pitch. We are developing a couple of different projects and, taking time to evaluate what's most important and where we're going to head next with all of those things. So that's what we're up to.
Right on. Thank you. Congrats on winning that fund. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
Gosh.
Yeah, they've been really big supporters of ours, and we're grateful. So,
Jeanine, you're on furlough, I assume, or on break from CW's Roswell, New Mexico. You're probably going to go back. Obviously, anything else going on you want to talk about?
Yeah, we were very lucky. We finished shooting season 2 back in January, so we're actually airing right now the CW on Mondays. So if you are not caught up, you can watch it for free on the CW app. Season 1 is on Netflix, and every Monday 9/8 Central on the CW we have new episodes. So episode 7 airs this month. 6, episode 206 airs this Monday. And we're picked up for a 3rd season. So we will be back. Thank you. We will be back. When we will be back is obviously, we're intended to start shooting in July, but we'll see how it goes with our industry. It's definitely been something that's like, I think it's affecting all of us, and it's, we're artists. We find ways to be creative, like Kylie was saying, and we find ways to create our community and sustain our communities. But I think more than anything for me, it's been just my heart's with our crews, and I don't think people realize like how many humans are involved in making these beautiful little projects come to life, and how many of those people are craftsmen and technicians and freelancers, and those are people who exist on contracts. And a lot of my heart is with the freelancers right now. So if you have anything to donate, I am making it my mission to take care of our actors, Lee, and the Actors Fund, and definitely taking care of our crew. And all the unions are setting up wonderful, rainy day funds for everyone to take care of anything that might come up in the next couple months. So we're going to get back, and it's going to be great. But in the meantime, I think taking care of each other in that way would be so appreciated. So yeah,
well,
that's where I'm at.
Thanks, Jeanine. Appreciate you and all of you being a part of this. I think all of you have. Just even thinking about, I'm going to pull in Nicole, who's been hanging with us. Says great hearing from everyone. Thanks for sharing your time. Stay safe and healthy. I think this has been a great reminder that we will move on, and how much we do need stories. And Jeanine, just kind of echoing what you're saying, we need essential workers, and to support them and elevate their work and recognize all of the people who are allowing us to go on, like those who work in groceries and our city protective services and stuff. What we also need is the artists, and we need the storytellers, we need the filmmakers, and those who are working in TV and theater, because they're the heartbeat of our culture. And so thank you all for contributing to that and being now a part of the Brave Maker family. Really cool, really proud to have Dispel and Made Public be a part of our online selection. So thank you for offering that to our subscribers. Really cool, really special. And thanks for your time today. I know we're all trying to make it happen. And if you had to shower or do your hair, as I did, I cut my own hair.
Looks good. Really good, Tony.
I don't have a fit. I was trying not to go back because the back doesn't look good. But yeah, so thank you. Really great. We'll promote all your stuff. And so all of you who are watching, thanks for being a part of the online Brave Maker community. Again, you can go to our website, bravemaker.com. Our free list to sign up for all these great films is bravemaker.com/buzz. And for the next however many weeks we're in shelter in place, you're going to get an email every Monday with all of the selections that have been allowed to be able to share online. And hopefully we'll be back in September for a real film fest with real people that we can hopefully stay somewhat distant from. And we are a nonprofit. If you would like to support us with all of these work that we're doing, you can text 44321 to text the word Brave Maker to 44321. You can give right from your phone. Until then, until next time, thanks to all our filmmakers and our actors. Really appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you all.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the
Bye,
broadcast.
guys.
If you can stay on for a second, I'm gonna put my mask on. Just so,